الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين سيما بقية الله في العالمين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداه رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. First, I would like to remind myself and my dear brothers and sisters for taqwa and being on the path of piety and taqwa and being conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And being conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means that we value the moments that we live in. And the valuing the moments that we live in this context mean that I'm going to be conscious of myself and the presence of God and Allah Azza wa Jal. And what that does is that helps us to value the time that we have in this dunya, in this world. Because for the most part, when we are living in this dunya, in this life, with all these distractions that we're facing, we usually tend to neglect the true purpose that we're living in this dunya for. And we tend to indulge in the activities of this dunya, of this world, so much that we tend to be heedless in remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and therefore our hearts start becoming hard and hard and hard. So after sometimes we feel that we're not receptive to the wisdoms that we hear sometimes every now and then from Quran, from Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And I give this example often to understand how our heart works. For most of us, the beginning of Muharram and Ramadan, we feel almost the same as if it's not Ramadan or it's not Muharram. Toward the end of the first 10 nights of Muharram, or toward the end of Ramadan, when I hear the same message from Minbar, from the speaker, or when I hear the first passages of dua, the same passages of dua that I heard at the beginning of Ramadan, now that it is toward the end of Ramadan, I feel differently. I feel more connected with those passages, with those lines of Masa'ib. When I hear about the Masa'ib of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas or Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam, I may even have more tears in my eyes to shed. Why is that? The reason is because my heart now is receptive toward those values, right? Those concepts. Why is that? Because my actions are more aligned with the values of Islam. Therefore, my heart is receptive. Does that make sense? Now, when we are indulging in these activities of this dunya, we tend to forget the purpose that we're living for here. That Allah Azza wa Jal multiple times said that the purpose of you living in this dunya is servitude. Well, do whatever you want to do, but at the end of the day, remember, you're not here to build this world only to build this world. This world is a mean for you to reach the best in Akhirah. You want to make the best of this dunya, the best of this world. But without looking at the hereafter, without looking at the Akhirah, that's a loss for you. Even if you can collect enough from this dunya, if you lose the Akhirah, it's a loss for you. And it's a pretty, even in terms of business mindset, if you look at it, and if you calculate, which Allah Azza wa Jal does, it's a loss. Because the amount of things and the intensity of things and how long that you can attain those favors, if you compare it to what you're going to get in the Akhirah and what you're going to get in this dunya, right? Without looking at that Akhirah, it's going to be a loss for people. That's why Quran says, وَالْعَصْرِ what? إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. By the time, I swear by the time that indeed human being is at loss, except those people have faith and they do righteous deeds, right? And they invite, they themselves are patient and truthful and in the side of truth, and they also invite others. They're actually the voice of patience and the voice of truth. Now, with that being said, I'm going to share a few verses of the Quran from Surah Al-Hadid, ayah number 12. I don't know if the brother can pull it out on the projector, if that would be great, if we can have the translation. Surah Al-Hadid, surah number is 57, ayah number 12, inshallah. Recite aloud salawat, please. As the brother is trying to find this ayah, Surah Al-Hadid, ayah number 12, the context of this ayah is Quran is actually giving us a prediction, a discussion, conversation between someone who is going to go to hellfire and someone who is going to go to